Then, if you can look deeper into it at a sun level, or with the well, it'd be the equivalent of the thinking center, wouldn't it? But it'd be the mental body. Then what do you see when you look at this? You see thought forms around it. Thought forms meaning, why was it invented in the first place? Well, one of the reasons, one of the thought forms that surrounds this coin is not wanting to have to carry things twice. Right? You see, I'm a farmer and I have a cow and I want some vegetables, and I have to walk all the way down to the person who has vegetables carrying my cow and say, excuse me, will you take this cow for that bushel of vegetables? And then, sure thing. And then I have to carry all these vegetables back, right? And leave my cow behind. The thought form that associates with this is that, instead of doing that, I just, someone wants my cow. And I say, okay, give me this token, right? Give me this coin, give me this token. You take the cow. Fits easy in my hand. I walk down to the grocer. I say, hey, can I have that, bunch of vegetables? He says, you got one of those tokens. Sure, that's convenient, right? It symbolizes the trade of something valuable. It's the thought behind it, you see. That's why money came in. And thank the Lydians, I think, or something like that. But Platus knows. But you see, that's the next layer of reality. That's when you begin to see the electrons, if you will, in the analogy. You see, it's the thought form. So it goes like this. It goes divine. We won't get there today, but it goes divine. Then it goes the world of thought forms. Then it goes the world of emotions, emotional attachments. And then it goes physical. So the path to the way is not walking around this for your entire life, but being able to look at the emotional content and the thought behind things. And I'll tell you, it's a very eerie feeling when you touch this, because the world disappears before your eyes. Yeah? You start looking at objects in the world, and what you start seeing is very much like the movie The Matrix, where you just see it as a condensation. Is probably the best term, right? Like a cup as a condensation of the thought form and emotion that brought it into existence in the first place. Now, those are things that man has made. You see, this is not necessarily a divine invention. Yeah, this coffee cup is man's invention, but that's okay. If you look at a squirrel, if you look at a mountain, a tree, a pine tree, or a aspen, or something like that, whose consciousness are you seeing? Whose emotions are you seeing? Remember when we talked about joining those consciousnesses? If you begin to look at the natural worlds like this, then you can form a link. You begin to see the consciousness of what caused it to be. Yeah? Not you. You didn't cause the tree. Do you understand what I'm getting at? It's a way in. It's a way in to be able to join with that kind of consciousness. And then you start to get this sense of the consciousness of, well, for example, in the case of a tree, generally the sun. The sun is what dreamt that sort of thing up and said, hey, you look like a good ecology, right, on the planet here. You look like a great ecology. So you get this kind of consciousness aspect of the planet and the sun and how they cooperate with one another. Because it's not a cup. It's not something you made. Yeah? It's something that creation made. You see? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does the tree become a crucible for the sun?
Yeah, sure. I would call it that. I would say when you look at a tree with those kind of eyes, what you get is the moving center of creation, right? The physicality. It's a force field, just like this cup is. But it's also has the emotion behind the intent of the tree. You see, like it's there to process a certain frequency, a certain kind of energy. It's there to do something on behalf of the sun and the planet. And you get the thought that comes from even higher than that, of how to make this processing machine on behalf of the universe, on behalf of the ray of creation, really. So you begin to touch the emotions and the thoughts of God in creation rather than, me to you. If I show you some invention I made, you can see the emotional and the thought forms behind it, but it won't lead you necessarily to the path of creation. So this is why it's important to look at the natural worlds as well.